Hey guys, Gathering Magic back again with part 2 of the Market Watch video for August 25th, 2024. And in this episode, we're going to go through and just kind of look at the market and look at all the cards that are available so you guys can kind of see how many copies of each are available on the marketplace, the prices, and the total number of cards in circulation. So I like to have a visual record of this, so in the coming weeks and months, you can go back, watch this video, and kind of see, it's like, okay, so how many copies of that were there, 3 months ago, and just get a kind of an idea of how many cards are either getting combined or burned for all the different sets. So starting with Alpha, and these are the Alpha Commons. These are just the commons, not the promo card. So we're going to go and just do regular foil. So there are 20 commons in the alpha set, and cheapest is right around 50 cents. And this is kind of a normal price of where they have been, between 40 and 50 cents. But as you can see, as we scroll all the way to the bottom, there is a single copy of Minotaur Warrior available for over 82 bucks. So this is someone that bought this card. I believe this card was probably 20 or 30 cents. In the last couple weeks, bought them all out, and now relisted a single copy for $82. Some of these other cards too, as well, even though they're only $1 to $1.50, a lot of these cards were like 40 to 75 cents. So you can see the low numbers: 11, 4, 8, 12. So definitely someone's been buying them and relisting them. Normally you'll have between like maybe 25 to 50 or 60 copies of most of these commons for sale. So there are your commons. Looking at your rares, usually the rares start at right around $1. So actually this is a little bit cheaper for some of these rare cards. One of the key cards I kind of wanted to point out too are the summoners from the set. So if we just look at the summoners, Alric usually is around $5, which to me, even if you can get a beta for $45, to get an alpha, the first ever printing of a card, to me at least, is something special. And this is obviously the strongest of the summoners, so I think $5 is still a good price. But look at all the other ones. The Earth one is actually under $1. Death and Life just over $1, $1.50 for Malric. So just to have a piece of history, I think it's kind of cool to have at least, one of each of these summoners. And they're actually not that expensive to level. So just wanted to point that out. But as you can see, the rares start from 70 cents and go up to 5.25 for Ulrich. Looking at your epics, you're sitting at 238 for the Warrior, up to 5.99. You can see the total print run at just over 1,000 of each of these cards. And then your legendaries, there's only 9 cards in the set, not including the promo. They range from $19 up to $175. Lord of Darkness, one of the key cards, is 20 bucks. To me, that seems very low, but is what it is. And of course, the dragons are usually the most expensive cards in the set. But as you can see, a couple of the dragon cards, 25, 50 bucks. So for an alpha where there are, less than 500 of any of these cards in existence, that's, can't stress enough how important it is long term just to have cards from the very first set of a game, especially a game that's been around for 6 years like Splinterlands. Okay, so now let's look at the promo cards. So your promo cards, you have one of each rarity. The common is sitting at 3, rare sitting at 19.49 for the Royal Dragon Archer, and then 400 for Shinlo. You can see the amount of copies available here. And then let's look at the gold foil. So the gold foil, I thought it was kind of funny that the common is higher priced than the rare. And you have the epic sitting at 1,000 and Shinlo sitting at just under 2,000. And then for your regular foil, let's look at the regular foil commons for alpha. So low end, there's actually one that's under $13 now. So 12.64 is the cheapest alpha gold foil common. And the most expensive is a single copy of Silver Shield Knight for over 800. So once again, this card was probably, Silver Shield Knight's decent, maybe 30 bucks, 20 to 30, somewhere in that range, and bought it out, now listed it for 800. So a couple of these other ones too, you can see, are kind of high priced, but there's only 2 copies of each of those available. And remember guys, these are commons, and look at how few there are in the marketplace. I mean, this is what you would expect to find maybe for gold foil legendaries, but these are commons. And you know what? Fewer than the most I see here is 13. Most of them are in single digits. Okay, going to the rares. This to me is kind of, I don't know if this is kind of a mistake or just an oversight, but gold foil rares, why are two of the cheapest ones summoners? This is the most expensive rare for a rare in alpha, but it's the second cheapest at just under $90. And meanwhile, you have some of these cards here that are selling for 400 to almost 1,000 that are not as good as Alric. Maybe it's because there's 3 available. There's only single copies of most of these, so they're just asking whatever. But I think that card is extremely underpriced at $90. But now look at almost all of these are single copies. There's 3 copies of Alric. There's 3 copies of Stone Splitter Orc, and there's only single copies of every rare from Alpha. Moving on to Epic, there's only 7 cards available. As you can see, 2 copies of the Screaming Banshee, 6 copies of Serpent of the Flame, and then other than that, just single copies of the rest of these. And then for gold foil legendaries, only 2 available on the market. A single copy of Lord of Darkness for $32.50, and then Elemental Phoenix for $155,000. The I don't want to sell it price. Okay, so that's it for alpha. So let's move on to beta. Look at the core and reward cards. So for your commons, range from 2 cents. Make sure I have it on common, regular foil. So there's 39 available between the basic set and the reward cards. So 2 cents all the way down to 84 cents for the Cobalt Miner. You can see the print runs. The high end is what, about 15, 17,000. And then some of the reward cards, you're looking at 60, 68,000. Moving to the rares, now you jump in price to 10 cents. And once again, this is the cheapest one, but man, Crystal Werewolf with that silence right off the bat. So if you're playing a wild, 10 cents get you a card with silence, just saying. And then going all the way up in price to, you would think Alric is the most expensive at $5. No, now you have a Cyclops for $5.51 and a single copy, as I mentioned in part 1, of Stone Splitter Orc for $42. Don't buy these cards. These two are extremely overpriced. But if you look past Alric and you look down, Cerberus is kind of a key card, so sitting at just $1 might be a good price. And then a couple summoners sitting here for 41 and 34 cents. You know, that may be a good deal if you're looking to build a wild deck. Looking at your epics, more reasonably priced, 35 cents for Divine Sorceress. All the way up to, there's 2 cost summoners here as well. All the way up to Magi Sphinx, 6 copies available, starting at $3.63 is the high end. These kind of get overlooked. I don't think I ever really see these in wild. The 2 mana cost summoners, they don't give an ability. Nice thing is though, they only cost 2 mana, and they allow you to cast slightly higher level creatures than normal. Usually if you have a 1 first level summoner, you can only cast a level 1 common. With this it's level 2. So there is an advantage to that besides having just the low casting cost. Okay. And then let's go to the legendaries. And one thing I mentioned in part 1 of the video, for the legendaries, your low end is 3, your high end Valnamor is 129, but that is not for a single BCX. The cheapest or the least amount of BCX on the market is a 3 BCX copy. So there's one available for 129, a 3 BCX for 195, and a 3 BCX for 256. Other than that, you're going to have to buy a 5 BCX or you're going to have to buy a max level card. So there are no single copies of Valnamor on the market. And this is true with another couple other key cards that we'll get to later. Cryptmancer is at 64. Some of the other key summoners, 20 to 30. Let's see. Next, let's look at the gold foil versions. So let's look at the gold foil commons. starting at just over $1. You can see the print run and how many are on the marketplace. Going all the way down to Gelatinous Cube sitting at $9.99. Giant Rock at $8 I think is a little bit overpriced. It should be a little bit cheaper than that. So some of these cards seem to be mispriced, but overall, you know, just over $1 to about $10 for a gold foil common seems somewhat reasonable. Your rares, low end is just under $7 for Enchanted Pixie. All the way up to your most expensive is not Ulrich, it is Beetle Queen sitting at $40. So once again, is Ulrich underpriced or is Beetle Queen in Twisted Jester overpriced? Prismatic Energy is a very good card. $26 to me seems pretty reasonable, but I still think Ulrich is a little bit underpriced. Okay, for epics, we're going for just under 30 bucks for the low end gold foils. As you can see, some of these even have single or two copies, all the way up to a single copy of Kiara Lightbringer for just over $100. And then for your legendary cards, $250 for Fallen Spectre, single copy, all the way up to Voldemort, single copy for $2,500. So one of the reasons that I've mentioned in previous videos and chats with other people about, you know, saying packs are an investment, and they're like, oh, they don't give you a yield. No, but long term, I think packs are going to have great value, because I think there's going to be some people that come into the game and say, what, I can buy a beta pack for under $10 and I have a chance to pulling a $250 to $2,500 card. I think they will do that. So that is why I hold some older packs. Not financial advice, but to me, if you're in this game and you're in it long term, you know, whatever you think is a deal and good, you know, go for it. Everybody has their own opinion and their own way to build their assets in the game. Okay, so that is the gold foils. So let's look at the regular foil promos. So the promo card, the common is Delwyn the Summoner, the +1 Magic Dragon card, sitting at 28 cents. The Dragonling Bowman rare is at 16. The Epic Harpy is at 90 cents. Red Dragon just under 29, but kind of, you know, misleading. There is a single, well, not a single card, or single card, 5 BCX is why it's $28.90. Otherwise, per BCX, you're looking at right around 6, and this is what the card had been selling for. But once again, there are no single copies available, so you either have to buy this one, or you have to spend, you know, $53 to $55 for a max level. And then you can see the prices here for Archmage Arius and Prince Julian. And then for the gold foil versions, Delwyn, like I said, kind of jumped in price from 5 to 14. The rare is sitting at 12, Fiendish Harpy at 47, and Red Dragon still at $6.85. So while we're here, let's go and look at orbs. It's a very small set, so this will go very quickly. You can see the regular foil cards, 3 cents to 10 cents, right around, what, 16 to 20,000 cards in circulation. For the gold foils, you're looking at pretty tight range of $1.30 to $1.70 for the commons. For your rare cards, there's only 3 available. The one that kind of had a spike in price is Silver Shield Bard. You know, this has been around a 20-cent card. Now it's sitting at 67, but you can see how few copies there are on the marketplace. There's only 6 available. So being able to have this card, 1 mana with a cleanse, you know, it's a very good card, very cheap. You can fit it into any life deck. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's jumped up to 67 cents. The gold foils, you can see $8.64 up to $11.52. Looking at the epics, the Dwarven Wizard at 47 cents, Mermaid Healer $1.19. No gold foils available at all. And for your legendary cards, Lord of Fire at $4.50, Minotaur Warlord just under 6, Corrupted Pegasus at 12, and then your 2 expensive gold foil versions, the Warlord at $700 and Corrupted Pegasus at $1,400. Alright, so let's move on to Untamed. So your core and reward cards for your commons, you're sitting at a penny for the commons. Just look at the regular foil. So plenty cards available, 1 cent, all the way down to, usually it's like the Spy and the Summoner, the two most expensive ones. Spy's down to 6 cents. So to me, this card is so useful. If you're playing in Wild and playing Fire, you want to get the Spy, you know, to whatever level your deck is, and 6 cents is a fantastic price. What other key cards? Herbalist is another good card that gets a cleanse at a little bit higher level. Albatross at 80 cents to me seems overpriced, but once again, it probably was a buyout because there's only 4 available. You know, normally this should be probably a 15-cent card. And then Failed Summoner is, you know, one of the key commons in the set, sitting at 46 cents. For your rares, once again, there are rare summoners in the set. We'll look at those in a minute. But your cheapest rare is 4 cents for Untamed, all the way to 48 cents for the Tower Griffin. We look at the summoners from the set. So if you're looking to build a wild deck, look at the prices on these summoners. All useful, I think. The -1 archery is key in some rule sets. Bortus with a -1 magic. Dragon summoner with +1 armor. You've got +1 speed. You know, I've seen Wizard of Eastwood from time to time playing in Wild with that -2 armor. So I think all of these are at least halfway decent, and to be able to get them from 10 to 20 cents a piece is a very good price. So, you know, even if you're playing like in Silver and you don't need a whole lot of copies of this, you know, if you want to play in Max Silver, you know, you need to get 25 copies. So for, you know, $3 or so, you can pick up some of these cards. So you can see I need to do so because I only have a couple of these low level, and I do play in Wild. So might be something I do after the market watch, is I might start picking up some of these cards for 10 cents a piece. Can't beat it. Okay, but those are your rares. Moving to your epics. Cheapest epic is 16 cents for the Pyromancer, all the way up to under $2 for the Goblin Fire Mage. And then your legendary cards go from just over $1, and then the key cards in the set, let's take a look at those. So Kitty, I mentioned how Kitty had gone from what, around $50 to $242. I was kind of shocked, but then I realized there's only 3 cards available on the market. So there's a max level card for $600. There's a 3 BCX for $255. There was another max card, I believe, for just under $400. That one's gone. So now there's 1 BCX card available on the market for $242. Jotun drifted a little bit lower from 65 to 55. Llama has been, you know, $25 to $30 range. This one shot up to 42. There are 12 copies available. Let's take a look and see. So there are a few single copies available. So there's 6 single copies available. But look, after the $42 one, it jumps to 57. So Llama's going to get real expensive really quick after that one drops off. And then you're looking at having to spend $150 to get a 3 BCX one. So if you wanted to get a Llama, I think the time was like 2 weeks ago. Okay. So after that, let's take a look at, well, let's look next, I guess, at the gold foil versions. So for your gold foil commons, you're sitting at 38 cents. All the way up to $2.97 for Failed Summoner. So this is the most expensive one, so that seems about right. So $3 is very reasonable. For your rares, $1.49 is the cheapest. All the way up to $4 for the Tower Griffin. Let's take a look at the summoners. What do they cost you? So to get a level 2 summoner, which is max bronze, you're looking at $1.80 to $3.75. So not too bad. Okay, next for the epics, you're looking at $8.40 for the Goblin Fire Mage, all the way up to $29 for Kretch, the Dragon Summoner. And then finally the gold foil legendaries, so $60 is the cheapest. And then some of your key cards, and this has fallen a little bit since I looked at the numbers earlier. There's a Kron for just under $200, Llama at $255, Kitty sitting at just over 650. Jotun at 766. What are some other good ones? Almo sitting at 600. See only 2 copies of that. 2 copies of Scale Doctor for 500. So you've got very low liquidity. Only 1 Chanceus on the entire market. Okay, so let's look next at the promos. So your promo cards, you have the Halfling Alchemist sitting at $1.73, Chain Golem at 12, Mighty Dricken at 150, and then the gold foil Halfling Alchemist just under 68 bucks, and then Chain Golem at 72. No gold foil Mighty Dricken. Let's look at dice. So your dice commons, you're looking at 1 to 13 cents for your commons. For rares, for the summoners, if you wanted to get Mylor under $1, now's your chance. Mylor's sitting at 90 cents. Another great summoner, Lorna Shine, sitting at 40. Bright and Bloom for the Earthquake rule set, he's sitting at 40. Ouster sitting at 30 cents, and then Quid Yuff and Vera sitting at 10. For your epics, you're looking at 16 to 28 cents for those. And then your legendary cards, Lensmaster is sitting at $2.70, and Epona is at $42.50. And then let's look at the gold foils real quick. So 38 to 44 cents for your commons. Your rares, which are your summoners, $1.57 for Vera. Surprisingly, Quid is more expensive than Mylor. Quid is selling for 10. Mylor is sitting at $9.52. Gold foil, Lorna Shine. If you're looking for it, guys, you can get one for just over $4. Then your epics, the Mistress is at $8.50 up to just under 10 for the Grenadier. And for gold foil legendaries, they range from $60 up to $4.80. All right, so that's it for dice. So let's move on to Chaos Legion. Look at the core and reward cards. So nothing too surprising, but like I said, for the first time, we now have the Soulbound cards that are unlocked and are on the market. So other than the Soulbound card, the most expensive cards for the commons are Scavo Hireling at 8 cents, Deep Lurker at 6 cents. Other than that, they're all 2 cents or cheaper. You can see the commons are basically selling for 4 to 5 cents across the board for all of them. And for your rares, cheapest rare is 2 cents on up to your new Soulbound rares, which range from 14 cents for Madcap Magus all the way up to 17 cents for Lob Lowland. So you've got a very tight range here. So it looks like your summoners are basically in that 15 to 17 cent range. Non-Soulbound, Kelia is sitting at 19 cents. Thaddeus Brood at 14, Obsidian at 13, Tarsa at 10, and General Sloan at 9 cents for the summoners. For your epics, 8 cents for Tidebiter. All the way up to your Soulbound cards are ranging 78 to 79. It was earlier. Now Thane is up to 87 cents. And the non-Soulbound card, Igor, is at $1.68. So a lot higher than any of the other epics from Chaos Legion basic set. And then your legendaries, 38 cents for your low end. So many great legendaries. It's hard to believe that some of these cards are like 50, 75 cents for a legendary card. So for your non-Soulbound cards, you've got Possibilis sitting at just under 9. You've got Immortalis at 421. You've got Lily at just under 4. So most of your Soulbound ones are from 375 to 395. So very tight range for all the Soulbound legendary cards. And then let's look at the gold foil versions. So for your regular gold foils, cheapest one is 11 cents. All the way down to where will the Soulbounds be? So the Soulbounds start right here at 86 cents for the cheapest, up to $1.15 for the Coastal Sentry. So you've got about a 30-cent range in the commons from low to high. For your rares, for the Chaos Legion set, it's 42 cents. All the way up to, I believe Kelly is usually the most expensive at $1.71, but now you can see the jump in price to the Soulbound. So your Soulbound gold foil, which include the Summoners, range from $3.75 to $4.25. So kind of surprised that the Summoners aren't the top cards. Return and Bruin is actually the cheapest at $3.75. The most expensive is War Pegasus at $4.25, but you can see the very close range in price here for the gold foil rares. Looking at gold foil epics, which you guys know I love for land. Starting at with the two cheapest ones, which probably are because they're neutral, are sitting, $2.48, $2.71. The next cheapest revealer is just under $3. So you're looking at $3 to what? Just under $7 for the base Chaos set. But then you look at the new, oh, there's the Wave Brood I was looking for earlier. I knew there was one that was kind of an outlier. So $17 to $28 is the range for the Soulbound gold foil epics, but you do have Wave Brood, and they're asking $18.50. So if you compare this to the other Chaos Legion cards, it's basically triple in price what the other ones are. So I just wanted to point that one out. And then another thing I wanted to point out too are your gold foil legendary cards. The floor just a couple months ago had drifted down to $16, maybe even as low as $15. I was wondering if that was kind of the floor. Well, now in the last month or so, we've been drifting higher. You can see the floor now is $20, $21. So other than King Joe, who's just under 20, you're looking at $21, $22 as kind of the new floor for gold foil legendary cards from Chaos Legion. And then once we get to the new Soulbound cards, you'll see how the price really jumps. So the ones that are non-Soulbound, looks like Possibilis is sitting here at 100. Other than that, they range from, it looks like Musa's the cheapest at 91. And I only count 11 of them. They're up to 140. So there is one legendary card missing, and I believe it is the Other Death card. This is a suit selling for just under $100. The other one is not available. So that is it for your gold foil legendaries. So now let's look at the promo cards. So for your two commons, sitting at 8 cents. O'Shure sitting at $12.38. Dr. Blight at $12.50. Zerial $16.33. Waka at 100. And Lux Vega at 164. And then for your gold foil versions, Archimus is sitting at 120. Bruise at $2. Dr. Blight surprisingly under 60. You can see the rest of them here. This is one of the first times I've seen a Lux Vega, and it's selling for $4,000. Okay, moving on to Rift Watchers. So you got 1 cent for your common, all the way to 10 cents. For your rares, surprising jump in price for Corsair Boson. For quite a while, the most expensive card had been Queen of Crows, so you can see it's dropped down to number 4. For your epics, which are your summoners, go from 23 cents to Dallin, all the way to Ilthane, who's sitting at $2. Let the graphics load so you can see the correct picture. So you can see the print run for all these are right around the 5,000 to 6,000 range. And then for your legendary cards, 2 lowest price cards, actually 3 cards now are under $2 for the legendaries, but you still have some cards that are holding pretty good value. Searek at 10, Agor at 11.29, and then Inevitable at just under 19. Your gold foils, 20 cents to $1.28 for the commons, 77 cents to just under 4 for the rares. You can see Queen of Crows is the top spot there. Your epics, 3.50 for Dallin, up to just under 10 for Ilthane. This card, I remember being in the $20 to $30 range, so this one has really come down. So this might be a good price for a gold foil Ilthane. I think that's probably the lowest that I've seen. And then your legendaries, basically 30 bucks up to 300 for C-Rec, and that's because it's the only copy available. Normally, I think this card would be around $100, but since it's the only one available, they're asking 300. Okay, so let's wrap this up with Rebellion. So let's start with just the core cards. So for your commons, go from 3 cents up to 25 cents for the summoners. For your rares, range in price from 14 cents up to the Bolter has taken the top spot at $1.55. For as long as I've done the market watch, it seems like it's always Moxian Rebel and Avina of the Wolf are the top two. Now it is the Bolter that has overtaken it and taken that first spot, probably with the double attack and the headwinds. For your epics, 48 cents to 2.35 for Captain Fellblade, once again with the double attack. And then for your legendary cards, went through a lot of the key cards in the first part of the market watch, so I won't go through them again. Your low end, you're looking at 4. Up to your high end, Venka, there's now 2 copies available. When I went through the numbers a few hours ago, there weren't any Venkas on the marketplace. And looking at the gold foil versions, so you're looking at 40, 50 cents for the low end commons. Those have come down a bit because I can remember for the longest time they were $1 or just over $1 for a gold foil common, up to $2.25, $2.60 for some of the high end ones. For your rares, you're looking at $2 for the low end gold foil rare, up to there we go, Moxian Rebel, Avina the Wolf, and it looks like Soothsayer and Bolter are the top 4, ranging in price from $5 up to $16. So Moxian Rebel has really distanced itself from the other gold foil rares. As far as epics go, $14 for the cheapest epic, up to $135 for the hatchling. This one is extremely overpriced because it is the only one on the market. As is this one, Cror. Once again, the only one on the market. This should probably be a $20 card, not a $50 card. But you can see, even for the epics, and this is the newest set, how few there are on the marketplace. And then finally, with the legendaries, Kai had a nice bump in the regular foil price. Now it is the cheapest one for gold foils at 80 bucks, all the way up to 275 for range. Eternal Tofu, 11 copies on the market, which, as you notice, is the most of any of these gold foil legendaries because it is the newest card. People are putting them on the market, trying to sell it. So this price will probably go lower in the next week or two. But once again, another thing I want to point out, and I've mentioned it before, how few gold foil legendaries there are on the marketplace. So if someone wants to come in and start building a deck and, wants to play at champ level and have some max level legendaries, 2, maybe 3 people can just completely wipe this out. So hope we do get a lot of new players in the coming weeks and months, but wondering where those cards are going to come from. And then finally, let's wrap this video up by looking at the promo cards. So for the regular foil, you're looking at Henchling Enforcer at 57 cents, Grimbarden Smith at 2.75. He came up a little bit from last week. Baron Fiat at 7 and Mandroth at 40. Then the gold foil versions, Henchling Enforcer just under $5. Baron Fiat is sitting at 87. Gold foil Mantaroth is sitting at 185. And then I saw, wow, 208 for Grimbarden Smith. But if you look at it, there's only a single copy available at level 5 for 7 BCX. That's the $208. Other than that, the only ones available are max level copies, sitting at over $626. So very, very few Grimbarden Smiths on the marketplace. And if you're someone that was just looking up to pick up a single BCX here or there, you're going to have to wait because there's none on the market. Okay, guys, there you have it. There is part 2 of the Market Watch, where we just kind of did a deep dive into the cards. So you can see the print run, how many available are on the marketplace. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned next weekend where I'll be covering land. So I'll be going through all the different land prices and seeing how that goes and how it's changed over the last 2 weeks. So hope you guys are doing well. And as always, stay the course, keep on forging, have fun, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.